Adjusting my lighting. Turn up a little ISO. Going live. Okay, I think we are live. Hey, everybody, Ed Diaz here, and I also have the gorgeous, the talented, the ginger, Scott Berry.
Hey, everybody, how's
Scott
everybody doing?
Berry, and we
Hope
are.
everybody's staying safe and having fun and learning stuff. And
Yeah, we're gonna be
usual.
we're gonna be learning a bunch of stuff today, people. Let's see. Watch this, Scott. Wait, watch this. I'm gonna go to my new screen that I made. Let's see if this works out. Watch this. Go to the chat screen. Oh, look at that.
I don't see it,
Well,
but thank you.
you'd have to see it on YouTube. You can't see it.
Oh, I see it on YouTube. Oh,
Isn't that cool? Look, everybody, when you type in the chat,
let's see.
it comes up in OBS. That's pretty awesome. See, waiting for it to catch up to you, Scott. You can see. It's really cool.
Delays are fun. Oh, there it is. Oh, that looks great. It's
Yeah.
really tiny, but it looks great.
I guess I need to work on that. It is really tiny. Let me see. We're just having fun right now, everybody, while we're working on this. And let me see if I can adjust this live. That would be kind of cool. I don't know. Let's see.
What are you doing?
And that's Scott talking to the gato.
Yep, one of the monkeys.
Oh,
He's into something. I think he's into my gig bag.
I think that made it smaller. Work on that. Let me see. Let me see here. Let's see. I think I made it. I think I'm making it smaller. Whoa. Okay.
All right, so who's all here? We've got Chris, Thomas, Christoph, Sam. Hey, Sam.
Hey, Sam. Hey, everybody.
Jerry, Rick, Robin, Elizabetta.
Elizabeth.
I think I said that right. Yeah.
Do it in your Southern California accent. Let me see here.
No, I don't. I can't even speak English.
That is true. I can vouch for that. Okay, let me see here. Going in.
And we definitely have some questions, so we'll have to go through these.
Okay, hold on. We're getting there, people. We're getting there. We're getting there right now.
Well, the first one was, does the Phantom make any, this is from Chris Hoffman, does the Phantom make any fan or operating noise like the Kronos? The stores are too loud to tell, and the sales people don't seem to know too much. Sales purple. I haven't noticed anything.
I haven't noticed any kind of
It's pretty
fan.
quiet. I mean, you hear the initial like beep when it comes up, maybe, but that's about it. Yeah, it's very quiet.
I've never even thought about that. Yeah, you just don't see that. Okay, let me see here. This is pretty cool. Okay, look, it's Scott on the screen too. Awesome. All right, so that was from Chris Hoffman. Thomas Cook asked, "Hi guys, hope you're doing good. I'm doing good. Scott, are you doing good? Okay.
Yes.
Okay, let me turn you down. Can everybody hear everything pretty decent? Do I need to do some adjustments? Hey, test, 1, 2. Test, 1, 2. Please.
You're distorting. Yeah, you're distorting on my end.
Okay, test, 1, 2. Test. How about now? Test.
Good.
Okay. All right, cool. You guys just let us know in the chat if we're doing okay. Let's see. Elizabeth. Hi, Elizabeth. No, Elizabeth. Better. Yeah. All right, let's see. Thomas Cook asks, it's about basic sampling and triggering samples, but I have a little different question which is troubling me a lot. All right? So he says, I made the key set to real in keyboard velocity settings. Still, I'm not able to reach the 127 value no matter how hard I hit the keys. Reason why I'm asking this, because in demo songs, the drum pattern sounds louder, and if I play live, that same pattern through keys sounds weak no matter how hard I hit. Why? Go ahead, Scott. You look like you want to say something.
Well, I mean, the velocity settings could be higher that are set or fixed for whatever you're listening to that was done in there. The other thing too is there could be a compressor or something on there that's pushing a little hotter. Unless, I mean, I'm guessing, Thomas, that you're playing a demo and then stopping the demo and then going to play the drums. that are on that demo. And if that's the case, then it should be the same. You should be able to hit the same thing, unless they're layered. Again, if they're layered with another drum kit or something like that, anything that's layered will definitely be louder in volume.
And let me go into what Scott said also. They might be compressed. Yeah, you might have to go, if you look inside that tone or in that scene zone tone, you'll be able to see it. It might be compressed, and so you might have to go into the different section of the drums and find that compression settings and see if that helps there. So the compression might be a thing there. So that's cool. All right, let's see here. So just give that a shot, and we can explore that later because it looks like we're going to have time over the next month to go even deeper, and maybe one of the sessions we can do can focus on the drum compression. Just making a drum kit. What do you think, Scott? That might be a cool one. Yeah. Just making it own custom drums. Let's see, because our guy at Roland Service, he actually cracks these things open and looks under the hood. And he's also been with the company for 30-something years. Yeah, he's seen it all. He's a totally nice cat, but he looks like he will eat you. So yes. If you don't know him, you're like, no, I'm not talking to you. But he's a super nice cat. Northwest area, Elizabeth, hi, and you see Elizabeth and Christopher Fry, hi again from Cape Town, South Africa. What's up? Very cool. Robin Spears says we had an inch of snow. We're just kind of messing around right now because it just turned 2:03 Central Standard Time, so we're about to get into it. Just letting everybody get their final something to drink, just get kind of settled. I'm adjusting my chair. I know Scott is over there doing his thing. Scott's wearing a Fantom shirt. I don't even have that Fantom shirt. That's not fair. Okay. Call Stephanie. We've gone through this. But it's still not fair. Anyway, let's see. Robin says they had an inch of snow yesterday. Hopefully the last one before spring is here for good. Yeah, it's tomorrow is what? April. It's April. April 1st. April 1st. Okay, sound. Oh, and then he says better thanks. Okay, great. Glad to help. Christoph, sound is good, great. Oh, nice, Christoph. Christoph is drinking his wine out of a mug, too. Scott, are you drinking wine? I'm still on my coffee. Oh, this is coffee. Okay, because it's noon in San Diego where Scott is. Okay, and it's about 2 o'clock here in the hill country where I'm at. And then I'm going to switch over to these, which are go down. No, up. Now there it is. Spin it the other way. There we go. Yeah. Which are 0 sugar, 0 carbs, etc. It's an energy drink, but they're just really, really good. Look at Scott. Well, you had your keto chocolate before you. But I didn't show anybody my keto chocolate. Look. Here's my until now my little keto chocolates. Available now at Costco. No. That's my little I gotta have that. Tortog says sound level's kind of low. It kind of looks. You can boost your output. Let me see here. It kind of looks low here too. Yeah, I'm looking at that too. Okay, signal to PC. Hey, test. I don't know why it got lower. Okay, I'm going to go signal. Tell me if I go overdrive, Scott, and test. Here's test. Hey, testing 1, 2, testing. I got it max, but it looks like it's overdriving for some reason. Yeah, it sounds distorted on my end. I don't know if everybody else does. Let me check. Everything looks right, because I didn't touch anything because this is the rig we've been using. And Scott sounds good in my ears, so I don't know what's going on. Let's see. Test. Yeah, because I can see it on OBS that I got a little bit lower level, and I'm not sure why. So please, other people, chime in. Let us know. Yep. Mark or even Graham that just popped up. Hey, Graham. Yeah. Let us know what you think of the levels and where things are at. Yeah, Mark says you're overdriving. Okay, cool. So, yeah, I just brought down the signal to the PC. But I don't know. Overall volume is low. I don't know why. What switcher are you using? Oh, I'm using the VR4 HD. And this I've been using this for a while now. Let me check the USB out. Yeah, I'm just checking all that. Everything looks good. Test. Test 1, 2. Test. Looks fine on there. USB from PC. Let me go to PC. I don't know why it's not coming out as hot. It's going out on the VR4 HD. Looks like it's going hot over here, but oh, let me look at this setup. Maybe I can boost this main level. No, let me see. Auxiliary level phones. Let's see. Trying to boost it a little bit. See if I can do that here, real quick. No.
Christopher Fry said everything sounds good to him. Levels are good.
Okay. Well, let's try and go through it, and we'll see what's going on. I don't know what's going on with that, and we'll just try and make it through. Like I said, I have everything maxed over here. Test 1 2. Got everything maxed over here, but I see what you guys are saying. Let me see if I can go into my settings real quick, my audio settings of OBS, and check that.
Hey, ZT Audio, how you doing?
Hey, NC.
That's Alan, isn't it?
I think that is Alan. Make sure you guys go to Alan's site on YouTube. He has a lot of great videos, so that's also good. Everything looks good over here. I'm looking at the output, and I don't know what's going on today, but we will diagnose this afterwards. We'll make it through it and see what's going on. Let's see. What's up, Marktronics? I think you guys are well. On my phone, it's louder than on my laptop. Okay, well, we'll just keep going. You know, like I said, I can see in my audio levels here on the OBS, it doesn't look like it normally does. Usually I have it well into the green and then going into yellow a little bit, and right now it's just under where it normally is, and so I can kind of see it in my audio level here. So we'll figure that stuff out. Little low still. Okay, well, we'll just figure it out later. I'm not sure what's going on. So let me check one more thing before we get started. Hey, Scott, why don't you tell them what we're going to talk about today? And that would...
one of the things we were talking about was importing samples to the sample pads. So we'd bring a sample in from whatever, Logic or anything like that. And then bring that in to be able to trigger, and then also show how to set up a zone in the scene that will trigger the pads, how you can get them all on the keyboard and even trim them down to 1 if you wanted to, but how to trigger it in the pattern sequencer. So you may have the Terminator one. I had a couple that were triggering. That was another way I was testing things. But it's something that could be cool, or something that may help you in taking something a little bit further, or trying to get a little bit more out of the sequencer, or whatever you're doing, or just something to jam to. You never know. I mean, you could also set these up as backing tracks and things like that. So whatever works, but we figure we at least go through it. And again, if you guys have any topics or questions or anything, please just put them in the chat, and we'll try to address them or make a separate YouTube live for it.
Yeah, so that's what we're going to do today, going over that stuff. I tried to adjust the audio, but yeah, I can totally see it on OBS too, and I don't know what's going on there. And I don't want to mess with it too much because I don't want to lose you guys on the stream. So I think we can make it through, and let's talk about sampling real quick. So I'm going to switch over to the top of the keyboard so we can take a look of what's going on here. So I tell you what, so... Scott, that's loud.
Sorry.
So if we look at the top of the keyboard here, the sampling section is going to be in this area, and we can go ahead and hit sampling right there, and it tells us, hey, there's already a sample that lists there. We can override it. I won't do that yet. I'm going to go into the sampling a little bit further over here. I'm going to move the iPad over. If I hold down Shift and hit sampling, then I can get into the sample pad and I can look around in there. And Scott, of course, please feel free to jump in at any time. So in here we get
just don't overwrite bank 4, the last 4, which because they're still tied to the other thing. But it doesn't really matter. I can always send you my backup again.
Oh, are you talking about your stuff that you did, right?
Yeah.
And we are going to delete all of these. No, I was joking. Insert evil laugh. No, okay. So let's go back. Let's see. Oh, these are all pretty full. Well, you know what? With what we're doing in here, we'll probably go ahead and move stuff in and out. You know what I mean? Because, Scott, this is, like I said before in the past, the keyboards that we work on, we're always doing stuff, moving stuff around, adjusting this, adjusting that, and then stuff that we really need for demos and performances, we usually make a backup and save that someplace else. But right now in a session like this, we are going to just erase, do this, do that, and see what we have. Just FYI, just for FYI. I'm not trying to be mean, Scott, but I'm going to erase all your stuff. Now listen,
You're very mean. Yeah.
I know. All right, so okay, so just one real quick, just to see everybody knows how I got there again. So I just picked any scene. That the samples are not assigned to a scene. Okay, the samples are not assigned to a particular scene. Just FYI to everybody. So to get into there, if I hit sampling by itself, it's going to take me so I can override a sample. That's not what I want to do right now.
Well,
go ahead.
Real quick, show them, hit the bank button so you can see there's 4 different banks that you can choose from. So you've got 16 each, so a total of 64 that are sitting there. They can be overwritten. They can be really long. You have a total of 1.3 quarters or 1.75 gigs that can be shared between this, which is actually quite a bit. Even if you were doing backing tracks, so full songs per pad, you'd have to take up, almost 2 gigs worth. So it's quite a bit there that you have. But now Ed can go in and start showing you how to sample or where to pick. Go.
Rude. All right, so that's right. So if we wanted to hit the bank, we could go in there and kind of take a look of what's going on. All right, so I'm going to exit that right now. So I'm going to go, once again, Shift, press and hold Shift, and hit Sampling. And this is the screen I want you all to be familiar with. This is where we can import samples. This is where we can sample utilities to clear stuff up. With the sampling right there, we can actually sample just by picking, and also wave edit, quick edit. So this is the screen, in my opinion. This is the one where we'll get into. I tell you what, let's go ahead and take a look at a sample. So we'll take a look at that sample right now. All right, so if I wanted to go in there and edit that sample, I would probably go ahead and go to Wave Edit right here. And you see we're looking up that sample. So once again, choose whatever sample you're working on, and I'm using this one, and then hit Wave Edit. All right, so once we're in here, we can go ahead and we can start adjusting the start point, the end point. We can adjust the zooms. So if we really want to get into the zoom horizontal, we can really go ahead and dig in there. And if I wanted to find maybe on this point right here, I could go ahead and move over. But then if I want to get super precise on a sample, that's when I use my horizontal. And then you can really see exactly where beats or whatever the start point on that is. And then I could press preview. So that could be something really good in there, okay? So that's something that's real good. Also, this is where we can adjust the overall level of that particular sample. Also, we see the vertical zoom if we want to get in there. Maybe this would come in handy, like I said earlier, if we're using horizontal zoom, but we want to like really see more. This is all about so we can see and really dig in there and find those points in there. Anything you want to say, Scott, at this time? Anything? So.
No.
No. Okay, that's totally cool. You don't have to.
Well, the one thing is like with some people, like if you're running a backing track or it's a long sample or something like that, you have the gate and the loop. So if it's looping, then that's obvious. It's constantly going to get its endpoint and then come back in, and you can adjust that in there in case you sampled it odd or something like that. The gate being on or off is the difference between holding the pad down or just hitting the pad to trigger it. The gate, it will allow it to play the entire sample or just that time that you have it held. So those two are very important features in there, depending on what you're doing, like if you're playing a backing track or anything. Well, the other thing to keep in mind is that not only can you import a sample, you could sample right off of the keyboard into the pad. So it could be something that you just created real quick that you want to bring in there, or something that you've imported.
Okay, so let's talk about what Scott was saying about the loop. The gate and the loop. Let's go ahead and show some of that now, just so we can. I just want to make sure I just want to make sure that we have a full understanding about this stuff before we start getting into and start adding samples and doing some editing. I want to make sure we have a full understanding of what's here. Okay, the gate and the loop, effect switch, all that kind of thing. So, all right, I'm going to go to another sample. I'm going to pick a drum on this one. Let's see, where's the drum? Where's the drum, Scott? See, drums, okay. Okay, go back to wave edit, and that way you guys can see. All right, so in here, we'll adjust the horizontal. We can see preview. Now gate, if I hit gate, right now its loop is on. So if I was out of here and I press it, it's gonna just do loop. Wave edit, if I go back into here and I say I want to use gate, and I'll turn off the loop. Now when I go back, I have to physically hold that down. Now here's what I want you to understand. I went ahead and I turned off gate. I turned on gate so that way I have to physically hold it, but then I turned off the loop. So what that means is as I play, when the sample runs out, it's not going to loop. So if I'll go ahead and have it play just so we can watch together. And it should shut off in just a second. And it shut off because we didn't have the loop on. So this is something good for all of you to know when we're doing our samples, and maybe we have one shots that we want to play. This you're going to see how this comes into effect for this. And once again, if I had a loop, it would have looped right in there. So I think we all have a good understanding about that. I tell you what, let's go ahead and maybe do a new one. How about that, Scott? Let's do a new sample. So
cool.
So right now, and then we will get to import. Don't worry, we have plenty of time. Let's do a new sampling. Let's say, I think if I'm right, sample already exists. This says, hey, this is the one that you selected. We're going to write over it. That's fine with me. We're going to write over it because, like I said, we're just having fun today. All right. So it's thinking. It's working. So you can see right on here, it lets me know, hey, this is what we're going to do. So, dude, I was looking for the mouse to adjust the keyboard. Sorry. All right.
I had the same problem with the Phantom G. I kept trying to use it as a touch screen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So we go into sampling mode. This is what we're going to need. Sampling mode. This one, let's look at what we have. We have keyboard and the input. This means it's going to monitor. It's going to sample what's coming in to the input of the Phantom, provided that we have it turned on first. And we have to make sure it's turned on first or it will not work. And then it will also sample the keyboard simultaneously. So keyboard plus input, but make sure you turn on the input first. Okay, that's a lot of times where we're first sampling, we're going to make that mistake quite often. You're like, oh, it's not working. The input's not working. Like I said, make sure and go ahead and turn on the input first. Okay, the next one should be self-explanatory. It should be. And that's going to that's going to sample anything that the keyboard is playing, anything. So let's say we have a bunch of files going on simultaneously. A bunch of patterns going on simultaneously, and we want to take them out and use them other things, or we want to take that final song. We could go ahead and sample the whole song and take it out of here and then go. Go ahead, Scott. You want to say something?
No. I was just, one of the questions was, can it bring in Akai samples and some other things? I was trying to copy the file formats, but we can go through that later.
Save that question. You know what? Let's answer that question now.
Okay.
Do you remember what the Akai format is? Put it in the chat. I'm trying to remember because I remember years ago and I'll put it so we can see. I want to see Scott too. So I remember back in the day, it used to be where it was acidized WAV files. I haven't tried acidized WAV files because I haven't used acidized WAV files in many years. So, but I think Akai is their own format. Put in the chat what format that is. But I think if we were to look, and I'd have to look, I think the Phantom really deals with WAV files And I want to say, hold on, I'm gonna.
I can read them off if you
Okay,
want.
yeah, go ahead,
I'm all
Scott.
sitting here. So basically, all the audio files that can be imported for using it with the sample is sampling frequency needs to be either 44.1, 48, or 96. So you're pretty covered right there just in wave. And the bit rate can be 8-bit, 16, or 24. So the big range, right? Obviously, and then the format can either be an MPEG 1 or an audio layer 3. Again, sampling frequency needs to be 44.1 or 48. But the bit rate, and again, these are all MP3s on this side, is 64 all the way down to up to a variable bit rate. So 320 kpbs or variable bit rate or whatever you want in there. So your options are definitely huge for bringing stuff in.
Yeah.
So I don't see why it wouldn't work with previous libraries if it was converted either into a WAV, an AIFF, or an MP3.
Yeah, and Elisabetta just gave us let us know. She said the A5000 and the 6000 from the Akai series use .akp, and that's probably their own proprietary format. So all of you that wanted to use the Akai, you probably could, but you would have to export it out in one of the file types that Scott mentioned.
The other thing to keep in mind is that the sample paths right now are more or less a playback at this time. Multi-sampling is coming for the Phantom. It's not there yet, so we may see a different option for bringing in things like the Akai samples for multi-sampling.
Yeah, maybe, but in the meantime, because I think the Akai you can export stuff, and we're gonna do that today using Logic. You can export it and then bring it in that way in one of the file types that Scott says. And I think it's pretty cool that this keyboard also takes an 8-bit rather than 16-bit. So some of you that like to have those low-res kind of audio files,
tunes,
tunes, you can actually doing that. Let's see. And Walter said he was wondering about that more for a pre-mapped multi-sample. As Scott just stated, multi-sampling is coming and it's not there. You can make a makeshift kind of, line the samples up, which we'll do later. But at this time, the answer would be no. Oh, yeah. Only a single shot right now, or they could be, like a whole song, because there's actually enough room to go in there. All right, let me go back to where we were. All right, so once again, you can do keyboard and input, but also make sure when you're doing the input, you go ahead and have it in there. I'm going to go ahead and let me go ahead and exit out of here for a second. And I'm going to go to a song real fast. Let's go ahead in here.
Yeah, Turford just asked, it would be great if when a sound is recorded, the Phantom would automatically detect it or detect the key. I get that. As far as recording, it will definitely, you can set a threshold so that it's armed and ready, and as soon as you touch the keyboard, it starts sampling.
Yeah, and that's what I was going to do. So check this out.
Sorry.
No, this is perfect. I'm glad he asked that. I'm glad that you went there. So let's go ahead and show how to do that now. So I just chose this scene that has a song, and I know it has a song because it's coded yellow, and that's just what we decided to do. You could do anything you want. Let's give it a quick listen. All right, cool. I'm just going to hit that first section there. So once again, I'm going to go into sampling. Let me make sure you guys can see it real fast. I'm going to go into sampling here, and I'm going to override a sample. Yes. And, yep, there you guys can see. Whoops. There you guys can see it's working. Okay, I'm going to tell it to do input. Okay, so let's see. It's going to go I don't want input. Oh, see, almost made a mistake. Thanks a lot, Scott. Let me see here. So
I take no responsibility for that. None.
So we're going to go ahead, and I almost made a mistake. I don't want input. I want it to come from the keyboard. And I'm going to turn on auto trigger. Okay, so as you were saying earlier, I think it was Twofer that said that.
Yeah.
So right now it's waiting. I kind of set up my stuff. Turn on this camera again. I got it waiting. And so as soon as I press the play where I have this song there, it's going to start recording, okay? And we're just going to record for like I think 1 or 2 measures, and then we can do a little bit of stuff. All right, so here we go here. I'm going to do it right here. Let's see here. We're ready. I'm not touching start. I'm just going to do it. I have it on auto trigger, and let's see what happens. All right, now I'll press stop because that's all I need. That's all I need on this one. So there is the new sample, and here we go. We can go ahead and let's press preview. All right, so I'm going to adjust some vertical stuff so you guys can see. Let me go ahead and adjust my zoom. There we go. We can kind of see a little bit more, and we can see the end point. S for start, E for end, and let's see here. So I'll go ahead and adjust that.
No. That's Scott. S for Scott and E for Ed.
Aw. All right, cool. So I'm going to go here. I bet you that is the end there. And now I'll do that horizontal right there so I can zoom. And hopefully I got it right. It'll be pretty close, probably right there. And I'm going to turn on the loop. I just want, well, actually, I don't need a loop right now. I'm just going to hit preview. Let's see if we got it first try. Oh, what did I do? I didn't put loop. Duh. I got it wrong. Let's see what happens. So that's pretty right on. Just pretty right on because I'm pretty right on. So we got it pretty good in there.
Yeah.
What'd you think? Okay. That was pretty. That was pretty.
I think
quick.
That was great. No, yeah. I think that was great.
So
giving you...
no, it's all good. So we have it. We have it there. So that's what we just did there. Is we just did it there, and now we can go. Let's see. What do we do now? Sample utility, and then now if we wanted to, we can get some other things that we want to do. So probably what I would do is first off, I would probably go in and truncate it. And does everybody in the class know what truncate means? Just let me know now. It's all good if you don't. But truncate basically means when we have our sample and then we have the extra sample that we didn't use. Think of like a piece of meat. We're going to trim the fat off that sample. We're going to trim it off unless you're on keto sampling. No, I'm just playing. So you go in there, you get your sample, you get it looped, you get it cut, and then you have that extra part of the sample you don't need. It's just taking up space. We hit truncate, it's going to get rid of it. So I'm going to do truncate right now and get rid of that part of the sample. So now we have a nice clean sample, and I'll go ahead and adjust the horizontal. And you see there's nothing left on there. It's just clean, okay? Now if we go back to sample utility again, I might want to say, you know what? I want to make sure my samples are all normalized so they have a nice sound. So I don't have one sample that's real soft and then another one that jumps up, and then I have to go in and make all these adjustments with my level and do all this crazy stuff to try and make a match. So I'm going to go to sample utility, and I'm going to go to, whoops, not yet. I'm going to go to normalize right here. Okay, right in there. And while that's going, Scott, you're paused. Okay. Does anybody have any questions? There he is. Does anybody have any questions on that? That's just, I think that was pretty cool. So right now, if we wanted to sample directly from the keyboard, you see how it comes out real nice. But then also if we wanted to go ahead and truncate, so trim the excess sample, and then also normalize, you can see how we can do that. Anything to add, Scott?
No, I mean, those are probably the main things that you would be doing with it is truncating it, and then, of course, normalizing it if you want to keep everything the same. Mm-hmm. That's usually the biggest thing is fighting volume and stuff like that in a live situation. So samples, you want to make sure that you got them where you want them. Volume, if you're going to trigger them live, if they're special effects or talking parts or intros or endings or whatever. Yeah,
so that's absolutely. And Lisa Betta just asked, is it destructive editing? And I would say yes, it is. Now, the way to make it not destructive is do not truncate it. Don't truncate it. You know, that way you can make your adjustments. But I know, like me, if I don't want to have a lot of extra sample that's just taking up space. So it's up to you whether you want to truncate
Yeah.
or not. You don't have to, but yes, it is destructive. It is destructive. So, and just FYI, go ahead.
And keep in mind too that you've got almost 2 gigs there of the sampling pads to use. So if you needed to or were unsure, you could definitely take that sample, copy it to another pad. So now you've got 2 pads doing the exact same thing. Edit one, make sure it's how you want, and then make the decision to overwrite or delete the other one.
Yep. All right. Cool. So let's move on. So we just did that right there. And then next thing in the sample utility, we could go ahead and we could rename it. So I could select rename, and then I could type it whatever I want. And I might just call this clear, and I just might call this drums. Okay, just for right now. All right, that's there. It's there. I called it drums. It's there. Now let's go to the next one, and this is one that you guys might like. Now I want to use this in Logic, or I want to export my song or whatever I need to do. Let's go to sample utility one more time, and let's go to export. And notice it's going to export as a WAV file. Scott, can you look up and see what it exports at? I'm going to guess it's going to export at
1644 would be my guess. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if it says that anywhere in the manual. It's something we may have to just export, bring it in, and see what the computer recognizes it as.
Yeah.
To verify.
So we're going to go ahead and export it, and then once we get into the computer side of things, we'll go ahead and look at it and just take a quick peek. But I bet you I almost 100% sure it's going to export as a 16-bit 44.1 audio file. That would be my guess. So let's go ahead and go back. I'm going to say export. Are you sure? Yeah. It's going to say your USB memory key is not ready. So make sure that you already have a USB key that's been formatted.
I like that.
Formatted with the Fantom, so it's Fantom recognizes it. So I'm going to do that now real fast. I'm going to plug it in, and we're going to export it just so we can have it for later. So give me 1 second. Scott, you want to talk?
I'll talk.
Okay.
Yeah. So, think of this too as instead of it just being samples, this is another way that you could probably move a song that you're working on in the sequencer, in the pattern sequencer. Just set it up to sample to a pad and then export it out as a wave to then just move forward. It's a fast way to do it. Obviously, USB directly to the computer, you've got the option of each track can be each zone can be its own track and have it set up like that, or just send it out as a mix option. But if you didn't have a computer nearby or anything like that, you just wanted to move the file, you could easily just sample it into a pad, your entire song, and then export it out as a wave, and then move that to your friend's computer or your computer later or something like that.
Okay, cool. And then so if now you guys saw, while Scott was talking, I went ahead and exported the file, sample export complete, and we're all set to go. So that's it there. Let's see. Let's go ahead and do this, Scott. Let's go ahead. What if I wanted to take the samples that are in a bank and I wanted to put them in a key? Let me put you up here. Is that possible? Can I play that?
So basically what you wind up doing is you turn a zone into pad mode, if you will.
Okay.
To where it can bring all of them down.
Okay, give me 1 second. Let's go ahead and do exactly what the Professor Scott says. Okay, so I have my Fantom here. I'm going to exit, and I'm going to go ahead and go into an initialized scene. Okay, that's just how I like to work, so that I don't have to worry about anything. So now I'm going to go inside that scene, and I might do it this way. Go right through here, or if you want to, you can also go menu, and you could go scene edit. Whichever way you prefer, it's going to get us the same way. Or actually zone edit. That's where I was going. I'm sorry.
Zone edit. It was zone edit.
So, all right. So all right, Scott. So I have it here, and go ahead and walk me through. I'm going to go down in the tone level, and I think, where was it? It's over here. Hold on. I'm looking to. Wait. I think it's in the tone level. And I'm going to go ahead and cursor down right here. 16. And Let's see. Oh, wait. Don't forget. Oops. Let me think.
Yeah, it's like I know it when I'm looking for it, but when I'm not in front of it,
I know.
I start to forget where you set it for pad.
Hold on.
I'm sure Alan will probably jump up and go, "It's here."
Yeah.
Because he's been really in it, which is great, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's a spot where you change that zone to pad, and I can't. I want to say it's in the scene.
I want to say it's a scene. I just moved over to scene. Here it is. Yay! Okay. So it's actually. Let me go through that again for you guys. So if I want to go ahead and have those pads play in a particular zone, we actually go menu, scene edit. Okay, great. And then I'll press the enter button, and then we'll go in there. You'll notice right in the very first top one that says general, if we go ahead and we look down, it says pad mode, pad zone select right there. If I'm correct, I think that's it, Scott. And then we can go ahead and we tell the Fantom what zone to put the pads on. Okay, so it can be anything from 1 through 16. I think for our example, Scott, I'm going to put it in zone 8. So that way we have stuff right there. So I'm going to say, okay, great. And now I'll go ahead and exit. If I wanted to keep this, though, notice, look what happened. It put an asterisk right by that initialized scene saying, hey, you did something to that scene. So I might go ahead and press right, and I'm going to save the scene. So I'm press enter, and I'll rename it. And I might call this clear all, and I might call this sample and then scene, just so I can go ahead and keep it for our purposes. All right? Because I'm a firm believer, and I think Scott is too, you have to save often. You have to save often because as you do more programming, you're going to make mistakes, and then or somebody's going to come in and you're like, where was I? And you're going to be like, oh, I lost everything.
Well, I think most of us guys, and I'll just throw it on this side, and especially keyboard synth guys, we're constantly tweaking things. We've got to constantly going, you know what, I can make that a little better. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. And then before you know it, you're like, I should have left it alone. So the constant writing is still something that even I have to remind myself, write it. If you like it, write it, or save a copy of it or do something, because it takes nothing to destroy all that awesome work that you just did.
And we've all done it. Just FYI, we've all done it, and we will do it again. So just FYI, it'll be in there. And then my wife will say, well, "Did you save it?" And she doesn't even play. I'm like, you're right. All right, so we're just about ready here. I said I'm going to put it in that destination. Remember, if I don't want it in that destination, I can press the enter button, pops open, and I can choose whatever destination that I want. Okay, so I'm going to say okay, and now we're good. Now let's go ahead and see what we did. So now I can go either by pressing shift, and over here I could go ahead into the zone edit, or I can press menu and do it this way. So let's go ahead and take a look at that zone over here. So I think, okay, we're good. Okay, let's see here. What did I put it in? Zone 8. Let me see here. Go to the top. And I'm trying to remember.
You put it in zone 8. So you'd have to turn on zone 8.
Actually, hold on. I'm in zone 16. Loser. No judgment, Scott. Okay.
Sorry. Not judging. Much.
All right. Okay, now we can see. So since we chose zone 8, now all those pads, and you might be able to see. Let me switch it this way. Let me switch it out this way for you. Maybe you can see better this way. Yeah, you can watch. Everything will blink. So here's the. So there's nothing in the B key down here.
Starts on C2.
Starts on C2 right here. And it's going to grow chromatic.
And start going into the other banks. So once you reach 16 keys, it then moves to bank 2, and then 16 more, bank 3. So, one thing that can be cool with this is that you may want to trigger it from there, especially if you're doing a sequence or anything. But, Ed, if you go into the zone view and we focus on zone 8, basically what you can do is you can go in and trim it down as far as zoom in on, or get it down to one key or a split point.
Absolutely.
So if you know where you want your sound to be, let's say it's an intro of a song and you just want to use pad 1, which would be C2, you can then change the key range down to where just C2 is the only key that's going to trigger, and then it doesn't interfere with any of the other layers that you have going on.
So that's a great point. So Scott, he's saying rather than it affecting the whole key bed, we can go ahead and specify exactly where it is. So let's go ahead and do that right now. You can see very quickly that it's the whole range, okay? But if I wanted to here, I can go ahead and adjust a specific range. So let's see if this works. I can go either this way, do it with the wheel, and that's cool. Or I wonder if I could do shift. Look, I can use shift to adjust those. So
shift is that magic button.
Magic button. So I'm going to say I want the range, the upper range. So so you guys can see. I'm adjusting from here, C2, so nothing's going to play up here. And then now I'm going to do the same thing with the lower range, but I'm going to actually I only wanted to play C2. So I'm going to press hold shift again. And now look. So now when I press the keys, let me go ahead and do this. Boom. Okay, who is playing? Who is paying?
You have to go to another bank and figure out.
All right,
I ran into this too.
Let's see what's going on here. So I have there's C2. All right, and I think I was hearing other stuff, Scott. Let me see what I'm doing wrong.
Yeah, go into one of the other zone views where you can see all the other keyboard ranges.
Let's take a look.
See if we can figure out what's going on.
So zone view. All right, we can see everybody else, and
it has to be layered to something. So it's like the keyboard switch has to be on for it to take effect. So layer it with zone 1 or zone 7.
Okay. So let me turn it on. Let me turn it on.
And now you see it zoom up into just that one.
Yeah. So here's what was happening, everybody. Okay. So let me switch. Before I had it to where this is on, but I didn't have it layered or just turned on. So it was just triggering everything. But let me see if I can show you the screen. Oh, that'll work perfect. So now when I actually turn it on, see if you can see the screen. Did you see that? Watch the keys over on the right side here. So right now everything's selected, but as soon as I press this button, so this is the zone edit, and this is actually turns on what I have programmed. Here we go. Watch the white keys. Watch. Boom. They just drop down. So now it shouldn't play the sample. So it's only playing those samples. I see that it's still playing
the other samples.
Well, these are. Do
you have 16 or another zone on somewhere?
Let's check that out. All right, cool. Let me go over here. Yes, I do. Good call. There it is.
Turn that off.
So now it should be right. So now
it's nothing except
and
for
then
C2.
Here's C#2. Here's C1, B1, and okay. So that's there. Now, what about? So let's go ahead and answer some questions real quick. See where we're at, and if we got to go through that again, because I was a little sloppy on that one, I'll admit. Whoops. So let's go ahead and check the questions real quick.
There was one that Elizabeth had about asking, is it possible to crossfade the samples?
Okay. When we say crossfade the samples, does that mean to take one sample? What is it actually meant by crossfading the samples?
I would think, you're playing one and then you go to start the other one, and the first one starts to come down and the second one rises up. That would have to be already kind of pre-done in the sample. It's just going to play back what you put in it, whether if it's a WAV file or something directly off of the keyboard.
Probably, if I was wanting to crossfade samples, I might do that inside a DAW first, crossfade that audio, and then export that out as a sample, so that way I don't have to do it on this side. Because, like as Scott's saying, that might be something that almost like a trick. You gotta have to kind of make it work, And
yeah, with samples, it's different. I mean, you can definitely do it on the keyboard. If you've got sounds that are split a certain way, you can do what's called fade in and fade out.
Yeah.
So as you come up the key with one sound, it's getting quieter while the other one's starting to raise.
And you could also grab the sliders, and as you bring in one sample, bring down the other one that way. That's one way you could do it, crossfade that way.
Yeah.
But I don't know about a pre-program. I like what Walter Galindo said. He says a patch is always partially done. It's never really done. That's true.
It's true.
Okay. Let's see. Oh, he's asking you, Scott, is the Phantom OS from the ground up, or is it on top of something? Go ahead, Scott. I have a...
Well, I answered saying mostly ground up.
Yeah.
Because of the Zen Core engine, I mean, it was started in the Axe Edge, and it went under Synth EX. It had a different name at that time because it was still kind of new until they got it to exactly where they wanted it, and now it's called Zen Core. It's the Zen Core engine, so it has a little bit more to it. But then you've got some supernatural sounds that we brought in the last update. So, and then the V piano. So there's a lot of different things going on that are in it. And because of the way it's structured with the seamless between the scenes and things like that, there has to be another Phantom sitting there. Yeah. So the operating system is absolutely, it's more brand new and ground up than anything we've done before.
Yep. Now, Elizabeth went in a little bit. She says she means crossfading in looping process. Oh, to avoid crackling noises and loops, and in particular for chord and sounds. I'm trying to think of an example of that.
In particular for chord pad sounds. I would say with something that you're bringing in, I mean, I've done this a lot. I'm sure Ed has too. If it's not directly off of the keyboard and I'm bringing something in from, Logic or Cakewalk or whatever it is, I'm already going to have it EQ'd or done a certain way. So I just have to import it in. I don't have to think anything more of it. So stuff like crackling noises and things like that, if it was brought in that way, would be already done. As far as in the keyboard, you should have no crackling noises unless it's put into the sound.
Absolutely. Walter asks, Zencore is a discrete chip besides the Supernatural engine, or do they run on the same main DSP? I'm not sure on that.
It's separate.
I'm not sure.
Yeah, it's separate.
As far as I don't know about Scott, but I'm not the guy to talk about what chips are going where and this and all that. I'm more about, we have the board. Let's figure out how to use it as much. I avoid like the plague. They don't get it. No, I avoid I avoid actually popping open the hoods of the keyboards and looking in there, just because I know if I sweat wrong or do something, I can just totally fry it. So.
Also, too, any warranty, any manufacturer, as soon as you open that stuff up, you voided the warranty.
Yep.
So at least wait until after the warranty period if you're thinking about opening.
Yes. I caution you and tell you don't do it, but unless you're there. Bella Lugosi, love it. Hope that's your real name because that'd be hip.
That is hip.
He said, they said, because I'm not sure if Bella is a female or male, because of Bella Lugosi was was a dude. So I don't even know. Anyway, he says, I came in late, and I'm sorry if you covered this already, but can you assign samples to the keys? We just did it. We just did it. So from this one, just go back from like about 5 minutes in the thing, and we'll review it, and we just did it. So actually, I'll show you again real fast. But I'm not going to go into great detail because we did it. We'd already did it. So if I wanted to do it, all you do is go to menu. You go to scene edit, and then in that particular scene, you go to pad zone select, and this is where you tell the pads on what zone to live on. Okay, that's where you do it. And so just back up the video a little bit, and you'll see the full in there. We even went in there and we adjusted the split of where that sample would play. All right, let's bring back in Scott. Okay, whoops, there we go. And let me see here.
I'm back. Sorry, I had to sneeze.
Yep. Okay, let's see here. Let's see. No problem, Bella. Blah, blah, blah. Got to see those guts at Diaz. Got to see what you actually bought. Oh yeah, you got to see those guts. But you know what? I you can pop open the guts, and I was like, okay.
Something like that doesn't even matter to me as long as it's the product is doing what I want it to do, or I know it's going to do it, or what I'm fine. The only time I've gotten into machines is if something went down or broke, or I needed to go in and add memory, or like, with the Phantom X and things, some of that stuff you had to go in there and add DIMM memory. And I've done that with other keyboards or replace parts. But other than that, I don't want to go in there. I'm terrified, to be honest.
No, sir. All right, so let's get back to it. I'm going to go back into here, and we already have this scene. All right, let me go back into. So we already have the scene where we have the sound, right there. Okay. Now, what if we wanted to take and like say Scott's playing live and he has this here, but he actually wants it down here? Can we move that down?
No, this is something that I'm actually requesting, because this would solve a lot of things that people want to do, which is, again, just trigger parts or trigger intros and outros or whatever, and just use that same key. So at the time, no. But again, like I said, definitely requesting it. Now, multi-sampling, when this comes in, it's going to solve that anyways. You could put it on any key. But right now, you kind of have to be conscious of where things set up in the bank and which key do you want to use to trigger something.
So I totally believe Scott, but I just have to just know for myself. And so I'm going to try and do it, and let's see what happens. Okay, so I'm going to see what happens. So the way I would do it, if I had this living here, and I would go probably shift, and I would hit that, so I can go into the zone edit. And then I would go, let's go ahead and see. So I'm in 8, and let me go level pan. Nope. Key range we already did. I would go into the pitch here, and let's see if I can lower this. So let me go ahead. And Scott might have done this, but I'm that kid that you tell me it's hot. Well, I got to touch it just to make sure. So let's see if we can do it. I'm going to go down. So Scott is absolutely right. I just wanted to make absolutely certain. So even with coarse tuning, you can't do it. I'm coarse tuning both ways, upper and lower, sharp and flat, and it's not doing it. So that's just something good to know. That's just something.
And again, it's something at this time. We kind of had the same thing going on with the V Piano engine. And in the last update, they were able to allow you to fine tune it or shift by octaves in the scene or zone edit, where you couldn't do that before. So it's something that could be possible to reassign the scene, and something that I think would be really cool and an easy way to do what a lot of people are trying to do, is just trigger something real quick. I don't want to go through importing it, creating a multi-sample. I just want to trigger it. So hopefully we'll see that.
And I'm trying another way real quick while, because we're always about, figuring out workarounds. So I'm going to try a different way. I'm going to go back in the scene edit and see if there's any way I can shift it. And it doesn't look like it. Let me see. It doesn't look like it. I was just wanting to see if there was a way we can kind of go in kind of through the side door and make it happen, because sometimes that happens. Sometimes you can do stuff like that. All right, let's get back on our sampling trip here, and I'm going to go back into the sample edit area. Okay, great. And this is the one we did. Where's the one we did? I forgot where it is. Oh, it's in bank 1, and there it is. This guy. So we kind of went into here. So that's the wave edit. So I think we're good. We already showed how to do start point, the end point, the zoom, that. the overall level, which you can just go in and you adjust that particular sample's volume. And then we showed the difference between gate, whether it plays straight and stops, or if we turn no gate if we have to hold the pad, or we just hit it once. If the gate's on, you have to hold the pad down. If gate is off, you can just launch it and walk away. Loop, remember, if loop is off, the sample's only going to play for the length of the sample. If loop is on, it's going to hit and it's going to just loop. And so whether that loop is correct, that is up to you, and what if you've cut it correctly. And then we'll go take another look right here. We already learned how to rename. Truncate, which was, remember, that was trimming the fat off the sample. So any of the sample that you don't want to use, and it is destructive. Just a real quick recap. It is destructive, so if you want it not destructed, maybe have some options for later, do not use truncate. Okay, just FYI. Delete, if we want to just delete that sample and get rid of it, that's cool. Normalize, we want to make sure our samples are as in the same hotness, at the same or similar volume as our other samples. Just normalize it to make sure it's good, and then export. We exported the wave, but we're going to go ahead and have some fun with that in a second. So I think we're good with all of this particular window. I think we're good, Scott, on this K, because I already exported it and it's good. So let's see. We did auto trigger in the input setting. I think we might need to go ahead and see about importing a sample. I think maybe we'll go there next. All right.
Go into importing, and then we can also show how to trigger it in a pattern sequence.
Ah, that's a good one. So we'll do that. Okay. So let's go. I'm going to go ahead and open up Logic real quick, and hopefully I don't lose everything, because this computer is being a good boy, being a good person. I'm going to open up my Logic real fast, and I'll have it so you guys can see that in a second momentarily, and we can go ahead and have that. Logic is opening up, and so what we're going to do here is I'm going to have Logic open up, and then I'll go into Logic, and I'm going to use some of the loops that are already in there, be it MIDI loops or audio loops, and we're going to go ahead and see if we can bring them in here. So hold on real quick. Where am I? All right, cool. There's Scott. I'm going to bring this in here. Hold on. Let's see what happens, Scott. So let's see.
Sorry, I was drinking.
That's fine to see. And I'm going to go and throw Logic onto this screen so you guys can see. And all right, so I'm going to do real quick I'm going to close this one that I'm in, and I'm going to do a new project. All right, I'm going to use the Phantom for the playback. So here it is. Input device is Phantom, and output device is Phantom. All right, great. So that's opening up. All right, awesome. And I'm going to say audio. I'm going to do it as audio right now, and I'm going to create. Okay. And before I do anything else, I'm going to grab my little dongle here, and I'm going to take out that USB thumb drive that we have in the Phantom and plug this dongle, because this is where we're going to export our sample that we do in here. So let me go ahead and do that real quick for you. And hold on one second. So I just exported, just got that out from the Phantom, and plug it into my dongle here, and then I'll plug that into the keyboard. Let's see here. Get this. Hold on. All right, so it's good. My cat's like, "What are you doing, bro?" All right. Okay, so let's go back to Logic. All right, so I have Logic here. And I'm going to just use in my example, I'm going to use some of the loops that they have there for us. That's perfect. That is fine. All right. So I might come in here and say instrument. Let's go ahead. Let me use genre. And we're going to probably take a couple of them. Okay. Let's see here. Scott, do you have any you wanted? Let's see.
Well, the thing is, if you're going to bring in a loop or anything like that, one of the biggest things to make sure, if you're going to bring it into a pattern sequence, especially if you're just using it as a sample, not a big deal, is to pay attention to the BPM. So either if you want everything to be on the same BPM at 100, 120, 150, whatever it is, that's one thing. Or when you do bring it in, you might want to write that on the sample if you ever have to go back and refer to it. So that's just kind of like a, think ahead.
Okay, cool. So that's a good one. I'm going to go ahead and put my untitled tracks here in Logic at 100. Let's do that. Okay. So that way all of my loops match up with 100 here. Okay, let me get clear that genre. I don't want that genre. Okay. Although I like that genre. It's okay. So I'm going to just go ahead and choose some descriptions. Let's see. I'll go ahead and choose, what else should I choose? The move, stop. I just want to choose some like beats, yo. Some groove. Let's see, some groove. All right, and I might have to adjust my USB audio. Let me see what I get here from the Phantom. That's actually pretty good. That's a pretty good. Could you hear that, Scott?
Oh, it sounded cool.
Okay.
I'm waiting for the rest of it to come in. So this is something that you can show with lining up, 4 samples.
So on this one, I went ahead and brought that one in. That's fine. I'm gonna say okay, and I'll play in Logic. Okay, so that one's good. I'm gonna bring in another audio file now. So I have that, and I'm gonna export each one of these as a different. So good, I have that, and I'm gonna grab that and throw that in there. And don't worry, we can always get it. Great. All right, and let's pick up one more. What if we pick? Let's see, what's this dreamy guitar? No. And everybody sees I'm just picking some samples, so I could do this in Logic, or I could do this in Ableton, or I could go ahead and get my Akai if you have an Akai. I know some of you do, and just kind of pick stuff this way.
Or even clips of your own original stuff that you want to pull from the album or whatever.
Absolutely.
Let's say you did something that was really cool. You want to trigger that huge flange part or something like that. This is perfect for that.
Okay, so we're going to pick one more. I think in this one, I'm going to find the instrument. I'm going to go to instrument, and I want to find some, let's see. Well, I want to find some vocals. Let's see if I can find some vocals. And... Let's use her. Let's use Yasmin. All right, so I'm gonna just bring Yasmin in here. Great, and I'm gonna use that one because that's gonna be more of a one shot. And let's see if I can bring somebody else. Let's bring in a dude real quick.
Drop it.
Oh, I like that. Let's have some fun with that one. That one's cool. So we can take a quick peek now, and we see I got a groove here. I got I got a bass groove, a beat. I got probably a one shot I can use, and I got this guy that's doing more of a rhythmic thing. And everything went to 110, which is fine. We'll go ahead and see what we can build using this. All right, so now I'm going to go into Logic, and I can't see because I need another 1080 monitor. Hold on one second. Get in there. All right, here we go. Need to go to the store and get another monitor. All right, let me see here.
You need new eyes, unfortunately.
No, it's not my eyes, Scott. I hate you. No,
sorry.
All right. Okay. So now I'm going to go over here. I am going to export and make sure. Watch, I'm going to get this wrong. So I'm going to export all tracks as audio files. I think that's correct. All tracks as audio files. Great. And here we go. And I'm going to tell it to go to my Phantom thumb drive. And I'll probably... You know what?
Yeah, make sure that when you bounce out that you're not bouncing it out as a mix. You may have to bounce out each one individually. I can't remember if there's a way to do separate tracks.
I think yeah, there is in Logic, but I'll double check that. We'll double check that. You guys put in the comments, in the chat. That'd be cool. All right, I think I'm just gonna throw them right into the main space of the Phantom, and then I want to see if there's anything else I can put in there. Track name, custom. I wonder. Okay, I think that's it. All right, so 16-bit wave, trim silence at the end. Let's export, see what happens. Boom. Okay, so that's going on right there, and I'm gonna check it in 1 second. I see it's thinking. Whoops. I see the hopefully not the what is it? The beach ball of death. It's just right there.
I call it the wheel of death.
The wheel of death, beach ball. Yeah. So it's thinking. Hopefully it's doing it. And if it doesn't do it, it's not the Phantom's fault. Just FYI. All right. Let me see what's going on. And let me see if I can flip over to. I flipped over to another screen so I can see if the Phantom's bringing it in. Oh, see, it kicked it out. Hold on 1 second. It kicked it out. Let me make sure. Hold on. Okay, we're working on it. Hold on. Like I said, this isn't the Phantom. I'm just seeing if it took it. Okay, Phantom. I'm looking at the drive. I got one of them. I got the downtown. Did it get it? No, it didn't get it. Okay. Well, let me try this again, everybody.
Yeah, listen. If you have it in there, listen to it and just double check.
No,
and see what you got.
It didn't do it.
Nope.
Hold on. Let me go ahead and try it one more time. So I'm going to. Oops. Hold on. I'm going to get it in there. This is the hardest part, but I want you guys to kind of see the process so we can, show you what is going. So you just export real fast. There we go. Or let's see, I could probably bounce. No, regions in place. Okay, export 4 regions as audio files. There we go. Let's try it one more time. Una más. All right, great. Into the Phantom, into that separate thumb drive. Okay, this looks good. This looks good. It's thinking. It's doing its thing. We didn't have the volleyball. This looks good. And boom, boom, boom. All right, now let me check my Finder file. We can look together. Great, there they are. So we have the downtown. Great. There's the beat, and there's the 2 vocalists. All right. All right, great. So I'm going to take out that thumb drive, and I'm going to put it into the Phantom. And here, Scott, I'll put you back on the screen while I do that.
And I'm back.
And he's back. Okay. And
Boo!
Okay, bring the Phantom. Plug this back in. I hope everybody's digging this. This is kind of fun with the whole sampling thing.
Well, the other thing too. I mean, this is how Ed and I will go through things over FaceTime or whatever through the phone and figure things out. So it's real time. It's not this nice little cut trim video that's all perfect and everything like that. This is just how we go through things, figure stuff out, and it's kind of cool, probably to see the process and that whatever you're going through is the same thing. So.
Yeah. So, but the thing is, you just got to take your time. That's the thing. And a lot of times I'm like, Scott, it's not working, and then it's like, take your time. And I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
Hold on.
Did you do well? Like what we were doing earlier. You're like, why am I getting these other drum sounds playing?
Yeah.
Do you have another zone on? Oops. Yep.
Yep.
So it happens to all of us.
All right. So now that we got that, now we have that. Let's go ahead and let's do some importing. What? All right. Cool. So I'm gonna say let's import. I'm gonna put these right there. I'm gonna say import. Great. And there we see the USB thumb drive. And let's go ahead. Let's do that solid beat first. Okay, so I'm going to say import. And it's red right here. It's outlined in red. It's hard for you to see because of the lights. So I'm going to execute. Sample already exists. Do you want to do that? And it's just doing that for your own protection. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. A lot of times in the Roland history, there is, are you sure? So yeah, that's just for your own protection.
Roland keyboards have always been the most polite keyboards.
Are you sure? Yes, I'm sure. Here we go. Overriding is bringing it in. Dun 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 dun. Hey, thank you, Christopher. I'm glad you're digging it. All right, we just brought in that one. Let's go ahead and import a couple more. Okay, I'm going to import, and while we're doing that, import the downtown bass groove, execute, yes, I'm sure, and then we'll bring in those other ones, and then we'll get to work. So I'll let that go, but anyway, just, yeah, like I said, while I'm doing that, we can talk a little bit, answer any questions that someone has. I'm bringing in these other ones. You don't need to see those, so I'm bringing in the Tyson Improv real fast. Yes, I'm sure. And then we'll go ahead and make the adjustments we need to make on them so they play properly in the keys. Okay, so so right now, almost got it set. And finishing the import with the Yasmin. And let's see here. I guess you guys don't want to ask questions. All right, the chat. All right.
Well, we had a couple earlier. Abel Sam was asking about, multi-sampling. Is this something that can be brought in with an update through software? Absolutely, yes, and it will be coming. We know that. We also know how important that is to everybody.
Absolutely.
And including us, because we want to use it. We know it's coming. But I mean, what I can say about it from what I know is that it is a brand new way of doing things. They've invested a tremendous amount of R&D into it to make it better. So that's where part of the holdup is that it's this brand new thing that's going to be hopefully just screaming powerful.
Yeah.
Knowing Roland, that's what we do. We're usually ahead. We design the future was a quote that we used to use quite a bit.
Mr. Kakahashi, absolutely. So I'm going to go ahead and get rid of Scott. Boom. No, rude. And I'm going to go into downtown sample here, and I'm going to go to wave edit. Okay. Look at that thing. It looks like it's pretty possibly kind of hot. So first thing I'm going to do that I would probably suggest is I'm going to go into sample utility, and I'm going to hit normalize right away. Before I start any editing, I want to normalize it to bring it into my system so it kind of matches closely what the Fantom says, hey, this is a good normalization. So normalize, good. And let's go ahead and adjust that vertical. There we go. Now it looks pretty. And now I'll go and press preview. And let me adjust my level so I don't blow up my ears. I'm going to just put it at 60%. All right, cool. So it looks pretty good, but it is a drum beat, so we might want to go ahead and tell it to loop. So I'll
and make sure the loop lines up right. Yeah.
Let's take a listen.
It should.
It should. Okay, let's see. It sounds like it's doing that fine. And if I want to hold it down in the keys, then I would press the gate, but I might just go ahead and turn gate off. So when I hit it in the pad, it just plays. But that's up to you. That's up to you. All right, so I think that one's ready. Sample. Okay, we don't need to rename it. It's fine. Truncate is fine. Nothing. I think we're good on this one, Scott. So
yeah, next
one. All right, let me exit one time. Let's go to the downtown groove. Wave edit again.
Now, I think, just so you know, if you're doing a lot of editing and stuff like this, I believe you don't have to exit out. You can just hit the other, you can just hit another pad and stay in that screen. So if you're doing a lot of the same type of thing, it might be easier just to reach over and hit the next pad and then bring it up for editing.
And we'll try that in the next edit. So we'll try it and make sure that works. I'm just trying to show everything. So let's go here. So first off, once again, just to reiterate, there it is. It looks good, but I just want to make sure. This is just more for me. So I'll go to Sample Utility, and I go to Normalize. This is when I've worked on samples in the past. I try and make them as clean as possible when we bring them in, and then I normalize them so everybody's at a similar start point. Let me bring down the level right now just to make sure. Looks good. Let me turn on that loop right there. looks good. I'll go ahead and, you know what? I'm going to go back to the other one. I want to have it to that way when I trigger it, because we're going to use the sequencer soon. Hint, hint. Okay. I want to go ahead and make it so where I hold it down on the keys, because I don't want it to have to reach over and hit the pads. I want to do everything with the keys at some point. So I'm going to try what Scott said and see if I can jump around. So this one's on 2. The first one was on 1. Let's see if it does it. Survey says, yes, it does. Scott for the win.
Told you.
Okay, told you. Told you. All right, so now we got the gate, so that's cool there. Now let's go to number 3. I'm going to hit the pad. Boom. Okay, Tyson. What are we going to do, everybody? We're going to go ahead, sample utility, normalize. Okay. And let that do that. Just making sure everything's good. Now, Tyson was also a loop, if I remember. That one's a loop. And we'll check it out first, see how it sounds, and then we'll check the loop point and make sure that that is correct. Once again, nothing that we have to truncate at this time. So let's go ahead, and I'm going to turn on loop right away and see what happens. Let me adjust that horizontal so I can see. There he is. Yeah, I want to see all of that. So turn down the level just for my ears and just to make sure.
Drop it, jam on it. Drop it, jam on it.
Cool, that guy's ready to go. Keep the gate on.
Jamone.
Now do the last one. Number 4 is the Yasmin melody, and once again, sample utility. You don't have to do normalize, but I would suggest you do. It's just something, a good habit, just to make sure your samples are all at a similar volume. They have a similar not start point, Scott, a similar volume structure, because you don't want to have to try and edit something.
And you can always go back and raise things up or do whatever, but if you keep everything normalized, it's probably better.
Yep.
To do it. Good habit to get into.
Yeah, and so preview, I'll turn her down just so I can make sure. Oh, did you hear that at the end? Or was that me? Was that me? Let me hold it down. You see it at the end?
No, that's part of that sample.
That's part of that.
You might want to trim that.
So I'm going to go over here and adjust that endpoint a little bit. Let's take that off. That's fine. Let's give it one more shot. Better. Now this is a good argument for maybe not going in and truncating. It's up to you, but on this particular sample, I might not use the truncate, because this one, that right there lets me know that probably where it goes at the end, Scott, that's probably like a perfect loop right there. So that's cool.
Yeah, that I was thinking the same thing. Is that you got to be careful, or you may want to chop it up a different way, or just zoom in on a certain spot. So
yeah,
I would.
So like
not delete it.
Doing it all the way out, it stops there. So I bet you that's a perfect loop. Let's just see. I'm just curious. Yeah.
Counting it sounds right.
Yeah. All right. So I'm just going to adjust it a little bit. Whoops. Wrong one. I'm going to adjust that endpoint just a little bit so I don't hear that, but I'm not going to truncate it. All right. There we go. So now we have some samples in here, and I think are we ready to go? Sample utility. We already did that. So that's cool.
And there's no, once that sample's in there, there's no right setting to save it. It just automatically saves on its own. So, yeah, if it's there and it's playing back, it will continue to be there and play back, even if you turn off the Phantom and bring it back up.
All right, so let's have a little bit of fun now. Let's go ahead and, Scott, real quick, can we go ahead and put these in a song? Is that possible?
Yes,
Scott
absolutely.
Scott says no. Scott says yes. All right, cool.
Absolutely, because if you're still in the same scene that we were in earlier, the scene needs to make sure that one of these zones is set to pads. Once it's set to pads, then anything you trigger will be re-triggered via the sequencer.
So let's go over that one more time again, since this is what we're going to do. We're going to use the pattern sequencer in just a second. On this one, not that one. I'll put it number 12. because I have some other stuff there. All right, so I have this here. Remember, in order to make the pads to the keys, I have to go to menu, and I go to scene edit right there. And currently in this particular scene, it's not set. So I'm going to set this one. And I think default, Scott, the drums are on 8, and you can move them. So
no, the drums by default are usually on 10 for MIDI channel 10. That's usually default.
I thought this one had changed it, but okay. I'm gonna go ahead and put the samples on 7. That's cool. And exit. And now when I exit, once again, everybody look. It's saying, hey, you did something to that scene. So I'm gonna go ahead and just do that scene, and I'm going to go ahead and write it, rename it real fast, clear all, and I'll just call this sample, and then I'll just call this 2, just so I know. All right, great. Rename it. Yes, I am sure. All right, great. So now, if we go, and let's take a look. If I go here, I can go ahead. Oh, I didn't put it in 8. I put it in 7. 7. Let me show you guys. Oops. And I want to use just those first 4. Here we go. I'm sorry, everybody. So.
Drop it, drop it. Drop it, drop it.
So you see right there, that's pretty quick just in the keys by taking those, and we made sure they're all on the same tempo. And I think that tempo was 110 if I remember correctly.
Yeah, 110.
All right.
So if you're going to move it into the sequencer again,
110.
Sure your tempo's 110.
Make sure.
Or a calculation of.
Real quick, I saw the chat pop up a little bit. Let's go ahead and take a look at the chat. Whoops. All right, cool. Let's read. Yeah, Walter, he does have a shirt. Yeah, a DSK shirt, but he never wears it because he hates me. All right, cool. Elisabetta said, Roland making sampling easy and very functional with the new fan. We're trying to make it fun. You know, when you're learning some new stuff, you just got to hold on, take your time. And that's why we're going through this. You can really go to town. That's cool. Yeah, it's cut by groove, not by visual look. Okay, cool. Sampling.
He was talking about the Logic sample that you brought in.
Oh yeah. I just did that. I just did that as an easy way, just to show you, because a lot of people will have Logic and Fruity Loops and a Kai sample, this and that, and Ableton. Just showing you, if you use all the tools that are already out there for you, you can make samples and take samples and put them in and out, take mixes, and you can really have a good time with that. Let's see. Ski Jump Toes says sampling looks quite basic to me. Why is there no loop start? Why is there no loop start stop independent of wave start stop for key hold? What does that say? Why is there no loop start stop independent of wave start stop for key hold? Scott, can you help? I don't quite understand.
Well, it's the way that this is designed. It's a start and an end point, and then it's up to you if you want to loop it or not, or just run it as a one shot. There's not a separate setup. That would be so basically you've got a sample and you've got your start point and your end point. He's saying, why can't I just set this little section in the middle to be a loop point?
Actually, we could have. If I just didn't do it in that one, I was just adjusting the end point. But I could have adjusted the start point and just had it looped in there. I could have done that. I just didn't do it. And I just, on these examples, I tried to find audio loops that were just nice and clean right now. But if we wanted to, if I could take a sample, just some kind of audio sample from somewhere, I could take that anywhere, and then I could find that one section. So, yes, you can adjust the start point and the end point independently, and then say loop from here, the start to the end. So yeah, you can. So I can have a big sample, and I can decide which section. Yeah, you totally can. I just didn't do it for this example because we're trying to make it, easy right
Simple.
now. Simple. Yeah, you can do that. Okay, let me make sure my camera doesn't go off. All right, so Bella Lugosi, love it. How would I move a part I make on the step sequencer and move it to a pad? I'd probably sample it. That's probably what I would
Yeah,
do.
that would be the way to do it, is a sample it. You wouldn't be able to take the exact step sequence and move it, but if you sampled it in there, then that would definitely work.
Or if you use one of the new modes, let me get us out of here. If you use one of the new modes, press and hold Shift, hit pad mode. Whoops, wrong mode. Pad mode. Here we go. By itself, and then you would use, I think, what is it, Scott? Is it pattern play? Pattern play, and then you could go ahead and you could play back patterns via the pads.
Correct. Yeah, that would be in use in conjunction with the sequencer.
Yeah, so that's how you would do that. We covered that in an earlier video, but I'm sure we'll cover it again because obviously, unfortunately, we all have time. Well, fortunately, unfortunately, we have time. So don't worry. We can redo some more of this kind of stuff and have fun with it. Elisabetta says, sorry for the off topic, but what do you think about the new Roland Boutique featuring some iconic sampler like the S550 12-bit or S770 16-bit?
Man, I wanted a 770 so bad.
Yeah,
back in the 80s.
Elizabeth,
I don't know. I honestly don't know. I mean, with the power that we've got now with things like even Zen Beats and, of course, keyboards like the Phantom and the MCs and things that can import samples or bring in samples, I don't know. But that's an interesting thought to do a boutique of a rack mount.
Yeah, because
the S7...
The
S70?
No,
S50?
the S770, I believe, was like the one for a while.
Yeah.
That was like the one to get for a while. I don't know. The Phantom, you saw the Phantom can bring in those lower bit rates. So you could kind of do it, and then I'm sure once the sample's in there, we could use effects and do some resampling and dirty stuff up and make it sound more gritty if we wanted to. So I don't know. I think it's kind of cool, but it wouldn't be my cup of tea. But
there also wasn't a lot of memory.
No,
and the 770 or 750. I mean, I think it was in the megabyte category.
Yeah,
like
absolutely.
25 or 50.
Yeah, which was huge. Okay, let's see. Bella Lugosi also asked, also, is there any option for slicing and chopping the samples? Not really, but
not like an auto chopper or anything like that. I mean, you could do it. You would just have to take that sample, put it into different samples, chop it here, chop it there, chop it here, chop it there.
Yeah.
Because each time you lift off the key or the pad, it's going to restart from the beginning. So that can give you a stuttering effect, but maybe not the chop that you want.
Yeah. So there's no auto chop at this time, but yeah, you like Scott just said, you could totally do it. All right. No more questions right now. Let's get back. Oh wait, there's one more. Ski Jump Toes says, I think Roland to go back and explore the elastic audio synthesis like the V-Synth GT would be great. Me too. Okay, so that was actually quite different versus the conventional synths. Yeah, actually back in the day, I believe the elastic audio actually goes back farther than the V-Synth GT, back to the product was called the VP9000, and that was the first time anybody, I dare say anybody, had control over pitch and time separately. So I know currently the Phantom doesn't have it. I know the MC101 has it. The MC707 has it. And those of us that have used it, we are pushing to get the elastic audio back in here. So we'll see what we can do. Like we're the cool thing about Roland, there's a lot of people that are really into this and they're players, and we're trying to push to get you cool stuff and then tighten up some stuff for you. So in there. So, and that would be amazing because then that would be in the sequencer. That would be pretty cool. All right.
Very cool.
All right, let's go back to the sequencer right now. And let's bring in these. So just as a reminder, we went ahead and right now all these keys are live for the samples. So I'm going to go back and I'm going to cut off. I only want these four playing for those samples. So just as a quick reminder, remember, let's go into this zone view, as Scott was saying before, and I'm going to come in real fast, and I'm going to turn on, let me put this in here so you can see. I'm going to go ahead and select, that's the one I'm going to be with, so that way if you can see, as I'm moving this, you can see It's adjusting. Look at that. There it goes. Now, a quick way to do this, I could press the good old magic shift button and, oops, just out of screenshot. I can hit it down here, and it just stopped it there. And I'm going to cursor over to the lower and shift. And now, when we take a look, nothing down here and nothing up here. So all we're going to hear is that right there. All right, so now that we have that right there, let's go into our pattern sequencer. So we'll go into the pattern sequencer, and it's already going to my tempo here. I'm going to go ahead and press record real fast, and I'm going to adjust my tempo to 110. And before I start recording, I'm going to go ahead and play that drum beat and just see how it lays right in here. Hold on, I'm having a brain freeze with this. All right. So, all right, so that particular one is 4 measures, but since it's a loop, I can have it whatever I want. Input quantize, I don't necessarily need it, but I want to make sure that I'm hitting it just right in here. So that's good. And then counting, I don't want to have to guess. Let me stop this. Let me turn down the volume so you can hear me. I don't want to have to guess by counting 1, 2, 3, 4, all that. I want the keyboard to launch recording as soon as I hit the keys or the pedal. So wait note. So as soon as I press the key, it's going to start recording immediately. So just that's how I make sure my samples are like dead on the beat. Okay. So I'm having a wait note. Okay. So 4/4 length. Oh, almost messed up. Had it on 5. Okay. 110. You got to slow down.
All right. So
go ahead, Scott.
I'm going to stop you here just for so you can think about this for a second. Because this is all on zone 7, you bringing in the other samples because you're hitting other keys and things like that is you could either have it on another track. So you've got the mix and the new. If you look on the far left of the screen, record designation, the mix and the new. So you could bring them in later if you wanted to, but it's only going to play in that one pattern. So the other option would be to extend the length of the pattern if you wanted to. If you wanted it to start with the drums for so many measures and then bring in the bass or different combinations. So it's just something to think about before you start going forward. And that's all I wanted to mention.
That's actually really good. So we'll leave it right here, and we're going to start with the drums first, and then we're going to probably do some copy and pasting and bring in some using mix. So on this first one, I am going to go ahead, and I think I'm ready to bring my volume back up. Great. So just to check, tempo 110, length 4 measures, wait note. So as soon as I touch the pedal or the keys, it's going to start recording, and I think I'm good. I have loop record switch off, which means after it does the 4 measures, the record is going to turn off. You're going to see that. So all right, here we go. Wish me luck. Here we go. Notice the record turned off right away. I didn't touch anything. So now let's play it back and see what we get, okay? So we have a real nice pattern right away in there. If I wanted to now, Scott, I could probably go
well, you got a couple different options.
Cool.
If you think about it. So that first pattern on 7 could be just the drums, and then you could go to a new pattern on 7 and trigger the drums and the bass at the same time and record that.
Absolutely.
And then do another one where all 4 are done or whatever.
Okay, let's do exactly what Scott is saying. We're on the same wavelengths. All right, so I'm going to go to this pattern, and I could re-record it, or I could go to pattern utility right here, and I could say, you know what, I want to copy that pattern, and I'm going to cursor down, and now I want to paste that pattern. And I'm going to do exactly what Scott says. I'm going to move to one more, and I'm going to paste that pattern. So now, and I'll exit one time. So now I have 3 patterns. They all have the same exact drums. So now I want to go into that pattern 7B, and I'm going to record again. but I don't want it to do new because it's going to jump down to D if I don't change this. I'm going to put it on mix. So now when I go ahead and do the bass part, it's still on weight note, still on four measures, and it's still at 110. So now it's going to be the bass and the drums together, and since it's on weight note, it's going to come in perfectly. All right, let's give it a shot. Because I didn't have the loop record on, so that's fine. So now we have two patterns, and I'm going to use that pad mode. Scott, tell me, how do I move this over here?
What do you mean?
How do I move
the pattern? So you're going to hold shift and hit pad mode.
Okay, so shift, hit pad mode, and you see I can choose what quadrant I want to use. So now, as someone was asking earlier, I could have the pads trigger the specific pattern. So right here, very much like Ableton. Now if we take a look, let me switch screens so you guys can see. Now these pads are those patterns right there. Okay, so I got that, and so let's hear the first one. There's the first one. Second one. Third one, which should just be drums. All right, so we have it set. So let's go back now and let's record those. I think we want to bring in, what's the next guy?
Drop it, drop it, drop it, drop it.
All right, so let's do the drums. Now let's have this guy just be drums and bass. Let's have this guy do maybe just drums and this guy.
Drop it, drop it.
Yeah, and then let's do that. So I have that there. Once again, it's on mix. If it was on new, it would drop down to the next available one, but we want it on mix. 4 measures, weight note, because I want it to trigger as soon as I trigger that sample. Here we go.
Drop it, drop it. Jam on it. Drop it, drop it. Jam on it.
Okay, cool. It stopped. Let's see what happens. So I'm going to trigger it from the pad.
Drop it, drop it. Jam on it. Drop it, drop it. Jam on it. Drop it, drop it. Jam.
And Scott, since I have on that first one, I have drums and bass, drums and the vocal. Jamone. And I didn't bring her in. I want to probably have her live. I'm going to go ahead and copy, go to pattern. I'm going to go ahead and go copy that pattern again. And then I'm going to go ahead and paste it. And that, just to review for everybody, exit one time. That's that guy. I'm going to go ahead and redo the bass. I'm going to add him to that pattern. Notice I had to move. This is what I'm recording into. So I want him to be with these people. So I record again. It's on mix, 4 measures. Here we go. Weight note.
Drop it, drop it. Jam on it. Drop it, drop it. Jam on it. Drop it.
So check it out. There we go. Drums by itself. Drums and bass. Drums and the vocal scat.
Drop it, drop it. Jam on it.
And then we'll bring drums, bass, and the scat together.
Jam on it. Drop it, drop it. Jam on it.
And that quickly we brought those samples in there. That's actually pretty cool. And don't forget, we could come into here and I could say, you know what? I want to bring in an electric piano. And oops, there we go. I'll just bring that guy in here and just bring him in. So here we go. Oh, it's not playing because there we go. I didn't have a trigger. So look, if I have it. And now I want to do another pattern. Check this out. We could just have fun. So I could. Let's do one more just so we can show that we're actually taking the keyboard now with those samples. Everything's in there. And so let's do real fast. I'll keep it on wait note. That's fine. I like wait note. It's on mix, but that's okay. Great. I can have this guy. I can put it on when I'm ready. I can go ahead. I can bring something else. Bring somebody else. Record. Great. So real fast, I'm just adding to just bringing other ones in here. And then fun thing is we can kind of move these all around. Let's see. And let's record this guy and see. And that quickly, we actually have now a pretty good number of tracks. Wouldn't you say, Scott? We have some fun stuff to play with live if we wanted to.
Absolutely, you can mix it up. One of the things I wanted to bring up when you were triggering the zones on 7 and going through them, there's a new option in version. I think it came in version 1.1, but if not, it's definitely in 1.5. To where you can set the measure on the pattern that when you want to go to switch another one, it can either wait until the measure's done or go immediately.
Oh, let's talk about
this. This might be cool depending on what you're doing.
Well, go ahead and tell me how to do it real quick, Scott.
I'm trying to remember if it is a system setting or a loop setting. I think it might be a loop setting.
I'm trying to see. So I just hit. Ooh, excuse me. It's probably the loop setting. You're probably absolutely right there.
Yeah, so change timing is based on system, or if you turn that, it could be measure or the pattern end.
Yeah. So this gives you guys some options where you wanted to go ahead and just stop at the either pattern. So our particular pattern is actually 4 measures on this. So you could say, I'm going to hit this pattern pre, or I want you to hit the measure. Let's go ahead and have some fun. I'm going to do pattern end, just so you guys can see. And that is currently right now, that's for that pattern. Okay, so this is something you can have separate. So loop setting on this particular one, I could say I want this loop. Maybe I don't need it for 4. Maybe I just need it for there. Maybe I just want it to do pattern end. Okay, great. So I just edited 7A. Let's go into this one here, which is the vocal cat, and I might say also I wanted it for 2 measures. And
also notice too that you've got a start point.
Yeah.
So if you copied this pattern, for instance, and you're like, it's 16 measures long, but I don't want it to start at 1. I want it to start on 8. This is a good spot to do it. I've used this a couple times with some things. It's been kind of cool.
Oh, that's actually great. So what Scott is, I think what he's saying is like, I could come out with a pattern that's maybe 16 measures or 32, and I could just copy that pattern into different spots, and then I could say, well, I want that particular pattern to play from here to here for 2 measures. Or I say, ooh, I like at this section those 4 bars. So I might start at 9 and say, all right, let's do 4 bars there. So it gives you a lot more options in there. So if you're just flowing and you just want to come up with more things, just let it flow, and then you can go inside that loop setting and really kind of trigger it that quickly. All right, so let's go ahead and see what happens now. I'll exit out of there. Oh wait, I think I really messed that one up. Yeah, take your time.
Start points at 9. Yeah, you want to be at 1.
It's not working. No, okay. So take it, and so everything should be good. But this time we're going to launch the patterns by using the pads here. So because we did go into pad mode pattern. So I forget who it's asking before. This is what we did, if they could do that, and the answer was, yeah, you could. You actually can. So, all right. So let's launch with this guy first.
Drop it, drop it. Jam on it. Drop it, drop it. Jam on it. Drop it, drop it. Jam on it. Drop it, drop it. Jam on it.
So as you can see there, we can really jump around. We can really jump around right in there. So very, very cool. Let me see here. Let's go ahead and go to the questions and see if we have any kind of questions in here for Scott and I as we're going into this. And so far, I'm really digging this session. We're just having a lot of fun with this in here. So.
And I hope that some of this stuff, even if it doesn't apply directly to you or what you're trying to do, inspires you to do something. Or if you're working on something in the Phantom, you're like, oh, wait, I remember you can do this or that. So that's what these are about. Plus, we're just having fun with it. And even us, we're learning things as we go.
Yeah, because this is actually fun. So let's go to the chat. I'll open up and see if anything's come up real quick so we can run. Well, it looks like we got a lot of stuff. Okay. Yeah, somebody, Walter wants elastic audio, so do I, so we'll see what happens. Evan Turner, hey, Ed and Scott, glad to see you guys again. Loving all this content. Awesome, thank you. We're glad, so happy to do it for you. And, I to be straight up with you guys, I was a little worried about doing the sampling thing because of copyright. Just FYI, I want to use like artists, and different things and stuff like that. But whenever I know what I teach sampling, that's always something I'm kind of like, because you want to hear the hits. You want to hear like, hey, can you chop so and so and so and so? So this is always difficult for me is to show sampling because of that. That is, that's just something I always find difficult. Go ahead, Scott.
But usually things like Logic or whatever samples that they have in there, sample loops are already released, and even the same thing with a lot of the Roland content. That stuff, it's sitting in the manual talking about copyright and that it's released and that you can use it wherever you want.
Yeah, so that's what I always worry about. Let's see, vSynth iOS. iOS app, one can only dream. I don't know about that's a lot of power. The vSynth.
That's a lot of power. Yeah,
that's a good one. Okay, Daniel. Oh, someone put TOP Tower Power. Yeah, I love Tower Power, and I love Chester Thompson. He's my other daddy. So Chester Thompson, the organ player. I love that dude. Let's see, Scott. Are there any drawbars on the Phantom, like use the zone faders or on screen? I'll let you take this one, Scott.
Well, we do have a tone wheel organ coming for the Phantom. At some point, it's going to be part of more supernatural things. I am really, really hoping that, yes, that is the plan. I believe and really think that it is, that those faders will become drawbars, but we'll just have to kind of wait and see.
Yeah, so we know about it. It's in the works right now, so hold tight. Now, we could do another video where I show you my organ. So my organ settings. Sorry. I've been locked up for weeks.
Yes, you're very funny.
All right. So yeah, I love playing organ, and we can show you some different settings that we can get from the Zencore organs that are in here. And there's a way to really get around that and kind of really make it shine. The VK isn't there, but yeah, Avel or Abel just said, plus the stock organs are amazing with the VK rotary MFX, but custom organs are cool too. Absolutely, but
Yeah.
there are
Yeah,
ways.
the rotary effects are sitting there. There's what, one, two. Is
Well,
there two or three?
let's.
I can't remember, but yeah, those effects are definitely in there.
Let me. I'll show you real fast that you guys, while we're kind of wrapping up the sampling, but I want to show you this. So I'll just go into single tone. I want to look over here. I'm going to look into the organs, and I'm going to go in here, and I think I already have some organ settings right here. We'll go in and say, yeah, I'm going to use that, and then I might go into here and go into tone edit. Actually, it should have been probably effects edit. So in here, and let me see. Hold on one second. Okay, here we go. So in here, we get the different zone, and we have the MFX right there. I'm going to hit this and show you the zone effects. And right now, it's set for hexachorus on this organ. But, and I just picked a random organ. But check this out. There's a lot of different effects here. Here's a rotary, and here's a VK rotary right there. I can hit OK, and I want you guys to see this. Check this out. We'll go this. Maybe we should do another video just on organs. Seriously, that might be kind of cool because there's so many settings that are inside the Fantom that most people don't even realize, and this is one of them. So if I go into VK rotary, hit edit. Check this out. I can adjust the speed, the break. I love this. The woofer, slow, fast, the trans up, the trans down, woofer level, and then look, same thing with the tweeter section in here, and then also the stereo spread, and then look at this. You have like an EQ for just it's like an EQ for the rotary, right? Right, Scott? It's like its own little EQ in there.
Absolutely, yeah. And so, I mean, you can really, really tailor just the effect, which is going to be major to the sound. So not just the drawbar settings and the organ that you're using and everything else, but just this effect makes all the difference in the world. And how dirty you want it. What are some of the overdrive switch and how much and things like that will make a huge difference.
Yeah. And you see the overdrive gain, you see, so you can really get in there and customize it. Look, chorus send, reverb send, and that would actually lock into that particular tone. Once you did it, you would write it, as we're saying, you would write it into the tone, and that way that would be your own organ settings. Now I'm not saying this is going to replace as an excuse for not having the virtual tone wheel, but once you get into these settings, you can really get into it. And then, as Scott could tell you, you can actually come into here and say, well, I want my rotary switch on and off on the S1 or the S2, or maybe on one of the wheels, or maybe in a foot pedal. So that's something to just really know. All right, let's get back to some questiones with El Scotto. So let's see here. All right, so let's see. Yeah. All right, cool. Stock organs. Okay, thanks, Chris. Christopher Fry says, this episode inspires me to do some crazy stuff with Ableton, Loop Cloud, and the Fantom. Absolutely. Cool. If we can help inspire you and help you really have fun with the Roland Fantom and kind of learn some stuff, then we're doing our job. And that's all we want to do, especially in this time when everybody needs to kind of just find something fun to do. So I'm going to let Scott, we're going to wrap up this episode, but just wanted to, go ahead, Scott. You can say if you want to say anything, but he might not because he's mean. And he's mean.
What?
And he's going to just say, you're on your own. No, I'm just joking.
Well, I mean, geez. I mean, let's go back to the early 2000s and things like that, the Fantom X and even the Fantom G, stuff that was before some of the modeling and some of the supernatural sounds. I mean, I've heard plenty of Fantom X organ sounds on albums, even on famous artists that I'm a huge fan of and things like that. So it just because it's not supernatural and it's Zencore right now doesn't limit you like you may think. But yeah, we want some more control. I'm sure we'll see that and things. But some of the stuff that Ed was showing with the rotary effect, I mean, that's really cool. And not to mention too, you may want to layer a couple of them.
Absolutely.
And get a completely unique sound. But I hope you guys really enjoyed this, of being able to bring in a sample, bring it even into the pattern sequencer if you wanted to, or trigger it independently, or what's going on. to just kind of expand your thought process on sometimes how to attack or go after something that you're trying to do.
Yeah, absolutely. So anyway, yeah, just as getting back to the sampling, I hope this helps you out. Take your time when you're doing this. Try not to do bonehead things, and if you do, it's okay. Just take your time, watch the video, and then you'll get through it. And then you might not get the full. You might watch this video one time and not grasp everything. Watch it again. Watch in sections and kind of take it, because a lot of this stuff, unless you've been doing it forever like we have, it might take you a little bit of couch time. Like, what does that mean? And, oh, it is, like I know when I first learned about truncate, I'm like, okay, how do I explain that? And there's all these different little things. So just take your time with it, and you'll be better for it, and you'll be more musical. And it's really nice. I see Christopher Fry saying he wants to go ahead and do some crazy stuff with Ableton and Loop Cloud and Phantom. Yeah, go for it. And we haven't even gotten to go ahead.
Go ahead, finish. And there's something I want to.
No, go ahead, Scott.
Quick. Oh no! Just so you guys know, for a limited time right now, Roland is offering Zen Beats for free. So if you've got an Android device, an iOS device, even the computers, the PC, Mac, MacBook, whatever, Zen Beats is now free for creating music, loops, whatever you want to do with it. We had Mark Watson on last Friday that went through, what was that, episode 9?
I think it was episode 9, yeah.
Yeah, that goes through just kind of a quick overview of what it has in it. But this is just another thing to create music, whether if you want to do it on the couch, or unfortunately if you're traveling or something like that right now in these times, or just sitting in your music room studio. It's just another means to create music or integrate with the Phantom or anything like that. So definitely check that out and take advantage of that offering that Roland has been so awesome about, just allowing it to be like, hey, we want to keep people, making music and things. So
Absolutely.
It's just really awesome.
Absolutely. So shout out to Abel. You're welcome. Shout out to Christoph and Marktronics. Absolutely, guys. We're glad that you guys joined us again. Keep joining us. We're going to keep showing you more. Remember, if you want more of this content, make sure you put the subscribe. Share this episode with your synth nerd friends, and they can have something fun to do. Like the episode. Even if you don't like the episode, put a dislike. It's fine. There's always one.
There's always one.
And I will find you. No, I'm just joking. So
no, we're firm believers that somebody works for YouTube that just goes around and dislikes every video.
That's you.
There's always that one
That's
thumb
you.
down.
Yeah, there's what's your job? I dislike at least one.
Yes.
One. So anyway,
and
then also hit the bell so you can get notifications when we do the episodes again. I know I've been trying to share them. This episode was difficult for me because I was like, how do I show sampling without breaking copyright? So
we figured it out.
We figured it out. And yeah. So anyway, we're going to leave you guys for now. Make sure you go ahead and you take care of yourself. Wash your hands all over real good. Sing whatever
like
favorite
a surgeon.
Song. Yeah, like a surgeon. Oh. Wash your hands real good. Use soap. Use spray. No, I'm just joking. Lysol clean. Anyway, don't hoard food. Listen to your local authorities. Stay in the house. Just the life you save could not only be yours, it could be a loved one or one of your neighbors or an elderly person that, and don't hoard food. Be nice to everybody. And we will check you out soon, maybe tomorrow. We're going to figure out what we're going to talk about next. If you want to go ahead and suggest one of our topics, you can go to Facebook, and you've got a couple of Phantom groups there. Go to those Phantom groups. You can put in there what you want to see. Let us know in the remarks here.
Or even comment on one of the links that Ed's put down there for showing this episode, for instance.
Absolutely.
Comment on that. That we'll definitely see those.
And that helps us. And don't worry, we are going to get back to the Jupiter X. I want to wait until some more people get to it. But good news is probably... And let's see, probably Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Probably on Friday, I'll start putting up Jupiter X videos. As I have 2 more to upload for the Jupiter XM. Almost finishing with editing of those, and we'll put those up. So anyway, you guys take care. We will talk to you soon. Thank you so much for checking it out. Make sure you go to YouTube, Roland Product Support. Check out your local Roland. Also, if you can, support your local music dealer. If you want to get into the Phantom or any other Roland products, just go to your local music dealer, be it in person or online, and we'll get through this together. All right, you guys take care, and we'll talk to you later.
Thank you so much.
Take care,
guys.
Bye.